everybody. I am thrilled today to have Sarah Clark on the podcast. I met Sarah at the beginning of 2022. I had just started knocking doors, selling solar, and I was invited to an all-women's retreat in Palm Springs for all the women in the solar company. And when I got there, I met the best people, and one person who stood out so much to me was Sarah. So of course I had to bring her here, but I'm bringing her here for a very specific reason. Sarah is so inspiring because she is pursuing her dream of being a nutrition and fitness coach. She's transformed her personal Instagram into a business Instagram, and she shows up every day online with vulnerability, authenticity, and she's here today to share her story of how she started to pursue this dream and what it's like to now be a business owner, growing this following and coaching people in their health. So Sarah, take it away and start us off by sharing what your life was like pre-becoming a business owner. Give us an idea of what you were doing way before you decided, I'm gonna follow my dream.
Yeah, okay, well thank you for the sweet introduction. As far as where I started, grew up in Orem, Utah. I would say in high school is when I became passionate about health and fitness, but definitely did it in a way that was unhealthy to start with. Came out of that, went on a mission, came home, had gained quite a bit of weight from my mission.
And a mission is like a volunteer service trip to kind of inform others of your religion. And
exactly, yeah. So girls go out for 18 months, guys go for 2 years. For girls, it's a choice if they want to go. I chose to go, and I got called to Chile. So when I go out there, like my entire life is dedicated. I have a companion, and for 18 months, we knock on doors and talk about the Book of Mormon and preach about Jesus Christ, and that's literally all we do for 18 months.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a commitment.
Yeah, it's a commitment for sure. But absolutely loved my mission. Amazing experience. But I did gain quite a bit of weight on my mission, and if anyone is listening to this and has been on a mission, you probably resonated with it, and you totally understand it. But anyways, came home from my mission. Got back into, the groove of health and fitness, was working at doTERRA. That's what I was doing before.
An essential oil company.
Yep. And I was just working at the corporate. I wasn't a wholesaler or someone in the downline or whatever. I just worked at the place in Pleasant Grove, helping those people who do sell it. Also worked in the call center. Anyways, did that for a little bit until I got recruited to do door-to-door sales. And anyways, when I was going to the school at the time at UVU and then studying exercise science, and then I got recruited to do door-to-door sales, and the act of making a larger amount of money at such a young age was enticing to me, being that I did not have a lot of money in my bank account. So after I got recruited, I went and sold pest control. Absolutely loved it. And then after that, kept going to school, did a second year of sales. That year I sold Vivint, or security systems. And then it was when I sold Vivint that I was like, you know what, I'm kind of good at this. I want to make this into something, And so I actually dropped out of school and was like, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to pursue Vivint and try and create a girls team that's just like badass sellers. And then I met my husband, Hunter, which you know Hunter, and this is long, I'm sorry, but anyways, then I met Hunter, we got married, and so instead of going back with Vivint, then he was also doing sales with solar, which is how we met. So then I got recruited by my own husband to go sell solar, and don't worry, we got married, and then I went out and sold solar with him for a month. I only sold for a month until I realized that when I was out there selling solar with him, I was having a really hard time because I had just barely gotten married, so I was learning to be a wife. I was learning how to do the things that I love, which the things that I love are health and fitness. Like I love being active, going to the gym, I love cooking, I love doing all these things. and also learning how to sell a new product, which if anyone out here is listening to this and sells solar, like there is definitely a learning process to the documents and the things that goes into a solar cell. And I had already learned how to sell pest control and security systems, and now I was learning how to sell a new product, which, because I already had done sales, was a little bit easier for me, but at the same time, like there's so many more things that were going on, and I was helping my husband try and balance running his team, and so there was just so many things going on that I just kind of felt like I need to figure out what I really want. And in the back of my mind, I knew ever since macro accounting, which we can talk more about that in a second or later, but ever since I knew about macro accounting, health and fitness, I always knew in the back of my mind that I wanted to start my own business and to help other people with their health and fitness journey. So luckily my husband was in a position that allowed me to stop knocking doors and just kind of take some time to kind of figure out myself for a second and figure out, you know, what do I really want? Is that to start my business now or later? Or, you know, do I even want to start a business? Like, what does that even mean? Anyways, and then that was in June of 2021 that I stopped knocking. And then it was in November of 2021 when I kind of came on my Instagram and was like, hey, transitioning my Instagram page over to like a fitness business, things I'm passionate about. Stay if you want to, go if you want to, but like I'm turning this into something.
Okay, so basically you were in college studying exercise science, then you started getting into door-to-door sales, and you saw how great you were at it, but you knew that wasn't your passion because you always felt passionate about health and fitness, nutrition. So at the time that you were door knocking, you met your now husband and you got married, and the position that you guys were in together made it so that you were able to full-time pursue what you really wanted to do and become a nutrition and health and fitness coach.
Exactly.
So you had the opportunity in front of you to just go for it. Walk us through what happened when you were clear that you were going to become a health and fitness coach, and tell us about the moment that you decided to switch your personal Instagram into a health coaching business Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, when I stopped knocking doors, it was not the easiest decision between Hunter and I, my husband, because, you know, door-to-door sales and solar brings in a large income. So, you know, you get his plus mine, like, geez, heck yeah, that's amazing. So I think me stepping away from the doors and a possible large amount of money was something that was, I mean, we were going to be fine, but obviously a little bit extra cash flow in that case would have been really nice. But I wasn't passionate about it. It wasn't something that was feeling exciting to me as it was before. And starting to be able to have more time on my hands and listening to podcasts and starting to reading lots of books, there was never a clear moment that was like, okay, I need to start my business. Like there was never a clear moment. It was more of like trickling, like listening to podcasts, like why don't I start this sooner? And, you know, it's in the back of my head. Can I do it? Oh, should I do it? You can't do it. You know, it was like kind of back and forth. And then I can't remember the time when I finally decided. And Hunter was a huge part in this of encouraging me and believing in me, but I can't remember the time that I was like, I'm going to do this. But I remember before I posted that post, I had been thinking about that post for like...
What was the post?
Months. So the post on my Instagram, I think it was back in like October or November 2021. I can't remember the exact date. But it was basically the post where I was like, hey, transitioning my Instagram, stay if you want, leave if you want, but this is what I'm passionate about. Like I'm going to pursue this because the reason I wasn't pursuing it, and I talk about this in my caption, is I felt like I needed the approval from others to start my business, and I wanted to do something for me. And so doing that, and that post was like the start of, okay, I'm doing this. Like I'm going to show up and start creating this business that I've dreamed of. But I was thinking about that post. I wrote the caption for that post like a month and a half before I actually posted it. Like I probably read it a million times before I posted it. And the day that I posted it, and this is kind of funny, is I remember the day I had my friend Liz, who actually she took pictures of me so that I could have something to post. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm transitioning my Instagram, like I need a picture that kind of makes so much sense. So she took pictures of me in the kitchen because with Trader Joe's bags. And then I had my post, and I set a date. I was like, I am going to post on this day. And I was like, Hunter, I need you to hold me accountable to it. So the day came, and I woke up and my heart was like racing. I was like, I'm posting it today. I'm doing it. I'm putting myself out there. Like I'm telling people what I'm passionate about and what I'm going to be doing. And I knew I had to do it before Hunter left to work because I needed him there when I posted it. Anyway,
moral support.
Yeah, I was like, I need that support because if I need you to help me do this. And he was so annoyed by me at this point. He's like, just freaking do it, because I was overthinking it. But anyways, I was laying on my bed. I had the post ready. All I had to press was share or post, whatever that button is in the top right corner. And my finger hovered over that for a good minute. And I could not get myself to press. And I was like, Hunter, I think I might need you to press it. But then I was like, no, I'm not having Hunter do it. Like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm doing it. I'm not having Hunter do it. But anyways, after a long time, I finally pushed post. I threw my phone to the side. I went and got ready. Didn't look at my phone for like 2 or 3 hours. I was like, I don't want to know. I just need to kind of just like cool off for a second because my heart was like, I was shaking. Anyways, people might think this is totally crazy, but I was so nervous. Like putting myself out there and with my passions is scary. It's so scary. But anyways, then after a few hours, I was ready and I went downstairs and Liz was downstairs and she was like, I saw you posted it because I had talked to her about it too. And I was like, I know. I was like, but I haven't looked at my phone yet. She's like, people are saying amazing things. I'm like, are you serious? So I finally opened my phone and I just started crying. And I was like in tears of gratitude for like the support that people had and just all the amazing feedback. And I just felt so grateful. I was like, oh my goodness, Heavenly Father, like, thank you for helping me do that. Just by the feedback that I got, like, I know I was supposed to do that. I know I'm in the right direction. And it just, yeah.
So when you made that public transition to announce to everybody that you are pursuing your career as a business owner, as a health coach, it was really daunting because you didn't know how it would be received by everybody. Totally. You didn't know what kind of people you were going to lose as followers in the process. And you were stunned by the response when you pulled out your phone and saw so many people supporting your dream and cheering you on. That gave you the reassurance that you are meant to do this work in the world. And not only that, but people need you for this.
Yeah.
They're looking up to you to share your insights.
Totally. And I would say, like, one of the fears that I had before posting that is I kept thinking of, like, oh, what are my friends back in high school going to think of me? They're going to think I'm crazy. Or what are my parents going to think? What are people going to think? They're going to think I'm absolutely insane for starting this. And then I just came to a realization, which is, you know, why does it matter, you know? Those people back in high school that are in my head, like, they probably don't care. They're living their own life. And, you know, if they unfollow me, that's okay because they're not going to be my client one day. And I kind of had to step into this mindset, like, okay, I don't even talk to them anymore. So if they unfollow me, there's no problem. But being that, you know, I feel like I've grown up as somewhat of a people pleaser. So being that people would unfollow me meant that they didn't like me or they disagreed with me. And that was hard for me to accept that that's not the case. And sometimes that's almost a good thing. Like, you got to filter out your Instagram. And I had to accept that, you know, I was going to lose followers. But that's not a bad thing. You know, I was going to lose maybe something, but I was going to gain more than I was going to lose.
I love that mentality. I think when you see the possibilities that are available to you and the possibilities are so big, it kind of overpowers all the minute fears and hesitations and doubts that you may be afraid of.
Totally.
You know? So once you made it known that you were going to start your own thing and run your own show, what was like the first thing that you did? Like, did you
Yeah.
start just creating content like crazy?
Yeah.
Did you start doing courses to learn how to run a business? What was like the first action that you took?
Yeah, really good question, because obviously I wouldn't go put myself out there and start accepting clients without becoming like certified or learning how to actually be a coach. Like, some people do that, and I would say, I would suggest going with a coach that is certified, But so obviously me starting my business was me putting me out there, and then it was really important for me to get certified. So when I posted, hey, I'm gonna start this, I just started with posting content, like lots of recipes, lots of things that I already knew, and then I invested in a coaching program. If anyone who's listening to this follows Bicep After Babies or Amber Brisicki, she had a coaching academy program that I went through, and I got certified as a transformational macro coach, which her program was absolutely amazing, taught me so much about how to coach others and how to help others discover their limiting beliefs, and how it's usually in your head that's holding you back rather than, the things that you need to do. And so anyways, that certification really helped me in so many ways. And then I also went on to get certified as a personal trainer through NASM, as well as a nutrition coach through NASM, and continuing to look for courses. There's so many courses that I have on top of my head that I will do. But anyways,
that's where you started, by focusing on your, is it called a fitness certification or a?
I mean, sure. There's you can call it that. A macro. One of them is a macro coach certification. One of them was a nutrition coach certification. One of them was
so you did all the necessary health certifications that you needed to feel confident about coaching people, and that's where you started. Once you dove into that, as you were diving into that, you were creating content about recipes and just
giving stuff.
Giving your input into all things health. And then what did you, of the different limiting beliefs that you had prior to starting your own business and putting yourself out there publicly, would you say there was one limiting belief in particular that you felt yourself breaking through as you started to create content and pursue this dream?
Yeah, for sure.
Which one was it that kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, and we kind of talked about this already, but I would say, I think that it's normal, especially in the culture that I grew up in, is to go to high school. In high school, you apply for scholarships, and then you go to school. Once you're done with college, you get a degree, and then you go work a very secure job. And that's how you live your life. It's very secure, salary-based, which I would say anyone listening to that's not a problem necessarily. It's not, but it wasn't for me. That didn't resonate with me, but I felt like it needed to resonate with me, because that's how you grew up. That's how we do things, is you do it this way, and that's the way to do it. And if you don't do it that way, then good luck. So I think that me starting that was overcoming the beliefs of, I can succeed in this, and it might not be the way that I grew up or the way that the culture says, and that's okay. Who said that in order to be successful or in order to grow a business that I need to do it this way? If it's a passion inside of me and something that I feel this desire and this burn inside me to do, why not start sooner rather than later? So I would say that kind of was a belief of overcoming, is kind of going in a different direction than what my culture taught, as well as I felt like I lived a lot of my life in the approval of my parents. Like, I did everything that I hoped my parents would be proud of, or that my parents would want me to do, which kind of goes along with, like, you do this, you get good grades, you get the degree, and then and all that. And so me even starting door-to-door sales was kind of out of the ordinary, and then me starting my own business was also out of the ordinary. So I think me kind of pushing past this belief or of needing the approval from my parents or others around me, which honestly I'm still working on to this day, is something that felt really powerful in coming out on my Instagram and starting my business.
So when you first started your business, the number one limiting belief that you overcame was you were able to have this acceptance of yourself that you're going to follow a totally different path in your life, and that you could trust the path and not think that it should look any different than exactly what it is.
Exactly.
I love that. I think a lot of people struggle with that, myself included. Like, there's so much ingrained in us about having to finish school all the way and then go get a salary job and work for somebody for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But you don't hear a lot of stories of women like us starting our own thing and creating something incredible out of it. So
Totally.
That's, first of all, amazing that you were able to see yourself in action and challenge those beliefs and have it be so evident to you that you can trust yourself, because you've been doing it for a couple years now. So Sarah, tell us why you've decided to coach women in particular in their health and fitness life.
So I would say it actually started probably when I did door-to-door sales. It's a very male-dominated industry. Very few women go door-to-door knocking. And when I did it, I loved it. I loved the way that it challenged me. It was hard, the way that it made me think and grow in different ways that I couldn't have imagined. I wanted that for other women. I feel like women are meant to be the caretakers and the moms, which, yes, 100%, that is a job, and that is hard in and of itself. But there are so many women out there that have these passions and desires and these gifts and talents in their life, and they need help showing those things. So I wanted to help other women achieve their health and fitness goals in a very healthy and sustainable manner, while understanding and becoming closer to their true selves, and like showing up and doing hard things to grow and to learn and become who they want to become. I just see that there's so many gifts and talents that so many women have that are not being utilized, and if they can just get some help on how to utilize them, and the way that I go about it is helping them via health and fitness. My goal is to help empower other women and help them feel confident in their health and fitness journey in a healthy and sustainable way.
I love that. I get it.
Huge rap.
Because I love empowering women as well. So
Yeah.
I totally resonate. Why don't you tell us exactly what you do, especially for the people who are not super familiar with the health and fitness industry?
Yeah. So I help my clients. I utilize the tool of macro counting. Macros are short for macronutrients. So when a client comes to me, I help them learn to track their macros. If there's different some clients don't track their macros, and that's a different conversation. It really depends on the client. But for most of my clients, the large majority is I teach them the tool of macro tracking to help them learn more about nutrition and how to fuel their bodies, how to include more protein into their diet, how to go out to eat and not feel stressed, to go on vacation and learn to enjoy it with balance. And
is the goal of doing macro counting to lose weight, or to lose weight and feel healthy, or like what's the end result? Why should we count our macros, I guess, is the question.
Yes, great question. So the goal with macro counting, and this is where I think a lot of people have a misconception, is macro counting is a tool. It's not necessarily a diet. So when people say things like, I'm on the macro diet, like it boils my blood, because it's not a macro diet. It's just a tool. So the goal can be losing weight. The goal can be body recomposition, which is the act of losing weight and building muscle at the same time. You can use macros to gain weight and gain muscle. But the benefit of counting macros versus maybe a different diet or maybe just counting your calories is, if you are wanting to lose weight, obviously the weight you want to lose is fat, right? You want to maintain your muscle. That's how people get that toned, strong look that they're desiring. But if you're not eating enough protein, then the chances of you losing some muscle is very high. So the benefit of counting your macros and why it's so important is making sure that you're getting enough protein into your diet so that you can hold on to that muscle, and I guess the best, for lack of better words, target fat to be lost if your goal is weight loss. But same thing goes for, if you are trying to gain weight and gain muscle. If you're just eating whatever you want, that's fine, but you're probably, along with gaining muscle, you're probably going to gain a large amount of fat too. But by tracking your macros and being very strategic about the approach, you can manipulate your body in a way where you can gain more muscle and you will gain fat in a sense, but that will be less than if you were just to free for all, just go on a bulk without tracking. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Hopefully that gives you some type of
Yeah, like
understanding.
there can be a lot of different reasons
Yeah.
for somebody wanting to track your macros. I can say I've honestly never heard about this until I started following your Instagram.
Yeah.
So this is really good for people to be aware of.
Yeah.
That it's a tool that can help you with your main fitness goals. Like you want to utilize this for just to like support. It's a support system.
Totally. And the reason I'll say this too, like the reason why macro counting is so beautiful is because, you know, there's so many fad diets out there. There's keto, there's intermittent fasting, there's all these things, paleo, and those things are great for some people in certain situations. So it's not me trying to bash those necessarily, but a lot of people do those things thinking it's going to be the secret tool, and then when they're done, they lost the weight, go back to their old eating habits, gain all the weight plus more, and they're stuck in this situation where they feel completely lost, right? Where the tool of macro counting helps you to be able to achieve your health and fitness goals if that's weight loss. It helps you to lose weight in a more sustainable approach while including the foods that you love. And the reason why that is with the macro counting, there's nothing that's off limits. Like you can have whatever you want as long as it fits into your macros. However, along with that, you also want to make sure you're getting enough nutrients and things like that. And we talk about that. I talk about that with my clients on how to find that balance. But then there's a strategic way to, and we call this a reverse diet, that when you're done with your cut or your calorie deficit, losing weight, you come out of that in a sustainable way so you don't gain the weight back, so that you can maintain the results that you got from weight loss, unlike a lot of other fad diets that are so extreme that people can't maintain them. So macros is so beautiful because you can still eat the food that you love and get the results that you want, and learn from tracking your macros how to fuel yourself so that you can see long-term changes and make it more into a lifestyle, the way that you're eating, so that you can maintain these results over a long period of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like a simple to use kind of like formula for your goals that you can use for the rest of your life to just stay on top of whatever results you are looking for.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good to know. I'm thinking I could really benefit from this, so that's a conversation we'll have after the podcast. But one of the things I was going to ask you is, now that you're further along in your journey of owning this coaching business, and now that you have clients that you are helping count their macros for their health goals, how has your experience been of having an online presence?
It's it's a battle every day. I am still learning, honestly. Like yes, I've had my business for, a year. That's not even that long, almost a year. And honestly, creating a business is a whole new ball game, and putting myself on social media is hard, and I've really pushed myself and tried to be as authentic as I can, because I know I appreciate when others are authentic. But to be honest, it's hard. It's really hard, and I struggle often. I have to journal a lot when I do. I have to go on walks just to kind of get myself thinking. I have cry sessions more often than people probably think. I cry to Hunter a lot, and he's so patient with me, but I think that it's worth it, and it's amazing, and I absolutely love it. I made so many amazing connections through the online presence, but that doesn't go to say that it is really hard mentally. But again, I'll say it again, but it's all worth it, and it's been more good than anything.
Yeah. What is the hardest part for you in particular about putting yourself out there so publicly and seeing people's receptivity to what you have to share?
Yeah, like what's the hardest part about for me, like with social media?
Yeah.
Comparison, really. Like
Yes.
comparison. It is so hard. I feel like I have had to really create some boundaries around Instagram, which I'll say I'm not always the greatest on holding myself to those boundaries, but um, comparing myself to other coaches in the industry who I love and value, but sometimes it's easy to look at their successes and how many clients they have, and their following is growing faster than my following, and this and that, and comparing my businesses with them. um, that's something that I struggle with, and I've had to work through, of not of realizing that that is not helping me by any means, and shifting my perspective um, in that case. But yeah, the hardest thing I'd say is falling into that comparison trap.
Yeah.
For sure.
I do the same thing. I go on Instagram and I follow so many life coaches, motivational speakers, but people who have a big presence online who are creating a lot of content. And in my head, I'm going, gosh, if only I were a better writer, if only I had all these ideas the way they do. So I think every human struggles with comparison. And
which is so funny because I think you're an amazing writer. Like, I look at your content and I'm like, Shana is, she's good with her words. She knows how to speak. She puts it out very what's the word? Is methodically the right word? But I don't think that is the right word. But like, it's so amazing. So that's funny you say that because I actually think you are an amazing writer.
Thank you.
So
it just goes to show how much of this is like so exaggerated in our minds. Like, I know that I have a strength with writing, but do I constantly have thoughts that I wish I was better? Yes.
Totally.
And I'm sure the same for you.
Oh, totally.
You know? So I think it's like great to share with people that, like anybody else, we both compare ourselves to other people online, and we still create content, and we still keep chugging along. Like, I don't think it'll ever just go away. Like, I never compare myself to anyone anymore. It'll be a lifelong journey of, okay, I can compare myself and be my own unique person.
And I'll say, like, the way that I try and talk myself through it whenever I do fall into the comparison trap is realizing, one, like, this is my journey, my passion, and if anything, if I'm going to compare myself, and here's the thing too, is I sometimes compare myself to coaches who are 20 years older than me. They have a lot more life experience, or coaches who have had their business for 5-6 years. So of course, like, they have so much more time on me, where I've had my business for not even a year yet, like almost a year. So I'm not doing myself any service. I'm doing myself a disservice by comparing myself to them in a negative way, when in reality, a more helpful way that I can approach it or look at it is looking at those coaches and saying, wow, they're doing it, and they've been in it for this long, which means I can do it. If they can do it, I can do it. And if anything, using their successes to motivate me and inspire me rather than tear me down. That approach and that perspective helps me a lot more than the other way around.
I love that. Makes perfect sense. Like, use other people's path as fuel along your own journey. So now that you've been coaching clients, what has been the most rewarding part about that for you?
Yeah, that's like the best part. Where do I start? I get really excited about these things because I love my clients. I love helping others, and I think that the thing that I love the most is seeing my clients overcome challenges and see these wins in their lives, and see them overcoming their limiting beliefs and showing up for themselves even when they don't want to, or things that I love is things like my clients feeling like they're getting stronger, or improving their relationship with food. They're able to go out to eat with no stress. They're able to go on vacation without feeling stressed, and be able to really enjoy their life, and come to peace and terms with food, and how to make it work for them rather than against them, instead of going through extremes, which a lot of fad diets do, of trying to push something into your life and make it work for you when it's not. And one of the things I love is when clients can start aligning their goals and values, and learn, again, kind of like I said, is learning how to make macros work for them rather than against them. and creating lifestyle habits and just learning to make this whole thing a lifestyle rather than like a quick fix. But I mean,
Yes.
that was so much. But just all the little wins of everything, of them being able to see results while still eating the foods that they love, them being able to just enjoy their lives and feel a lot more peace with food is something that's so rewarding and exciting to see.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, you get to see your clients not only living a healthy lifestyle, but feeling effortless when they go about it.
Totally.
That's so awesome. My next question is, since you've had different clients and you've seen their results, do you feel that seeing their transformation has transformed you in a particular way? And if you resonate with that, what do you think has been so transformative for you in your own self-growth path?
Yeah, totally. I benefit from the calls that I'm on with my clients just as much as they might, because I thrive off of talking with other people, and the way that I coach, like I try and ask a lot of questions, and so a lot of times their answers are actually really inspiring to me and really helpful for me to gain a different perspective. But I would say, just learning from my clients and meeting them and seeing their experiences, like even just gaining connection in that way, like I just absolutely thrive off it, which I think that's why I love coaching so much, is gaining these connections and creating these connections with other people. And I would say they've helped me just as much as I hope I have helped them.
I love that. I feel the same way when I'm coaching people. Whatever I'm saying to them, I take that in for myself. And I think that it's really cool to see yourself in action, because you're teaching others, but at the same time, you're teaching yourself.
Totally. Oh, 100%.
So you're always the student, even though you're the teacher.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I just want to say, from an outsider's perspective, being somebody that has followed your fitness, health Instagram for, I don't know how many months, like 7 months now or something like that, I am most amazed by your authenticity online. I think a lot of us, most of us, including me, have wanted to portray this super put together image for people, that life is great and everything works out perfectly, but we all know that that's not a reality. And what you do so well is you really let your followers inside your thoughts and your brain, and you allow them to see vulnerable aspects of yourself. And what I mean by that is, sometimes you'll post pictures of yourself on the beach, and these are photos that you may not necessarily think are flattering, but you post them anyway because you have an inspiring message to share about the value of kind of embracing your insecurities, letting yourself be seen, and showing others that they can do the same thing. So when I see your posts, I always think, thank you so much for being so raw and real with all of us, because I don't know if I have the courage to like show off my body, because I know I have a lot of insecurities around that. But when I see you do it, I think, why am I holding back? Because if anything, when I see your posts, I don't feel alone. I feel like, okay, I'm one of many people who feel insecure at times, and that's okay. Tell us, like, how do you work through those thoughts that, like, oh, I shouldn't share this picture of me with my stomach out on the beach, and you do it anyway? Like, what does it take for you to do that? Help a girl out.
Well, let me tell you, that's super nice, and I appreciate you saying that, because obviously that is the way that I hope to portray on my Instagram, is being real and authentic, because I appreciate when others are authentic, and I really struggle with those people. I really struggle when others show up, and Instagram is a highlight reel, and they will show their best, and in reality, we're all we're all in this together. Like, hey, yes, there are things that I want to help others, but in all reality, we all struggle. And the more that we can realize that we're struggling together, the more empowered we can feel, and the more we can all lift up together. So I'm glad you say that, and feel that way, because that is my goal. I would also go along with that is, how do I do it? Is it's hard, that Instagram post of the beach. I waited 3 days to post that, and I prayed about it. I was like, I don't know if I should post this. Is this too revealing? I did have to reach out. I reached out to a few friends, like, hey, please, friends who I knew would be really honest with me, like, hey, please tell me, like, is this too revealing? Anyways, I was really hesitant about that one in particular. But in other cases, I think that I kind of put myself in a perspective of, like, if I saw this on my Instagram feed, would I be grateful that I read this? And a lot of the times, the reason why I do post it is because I have seen someone post about that, and I've been really grateful. And so, I mean, it's hard, because you always want to seem like you got it figured out, but I think that vulnerability and authenticity creates more connection between others, and that's what I want out of creating my business.
I love that, because as a business owner, coaching people in their health, you want those people to be able to relate to a struggle.
Yeah,
totally. And by you putting yourself out there in such a vulnerable way, by sharing your imperfections so publicly, other people can see their own imperfections.
Yeah.
And come to an understanding that they too can let those imperfections be known, and like they can survive not only going through that hard thing, but they can actually feel like great about themselves for doing it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Totally. And I think, something that is portrayed a lot in business, and also in the fitness journey, in the fitness world especially, is being consistent over perfection, right? And the reason why I like to share a lot of, like, my imperfections and my struggles is to show other people, hopefully to show other people too, that, hey, I'm imperfect and I struggle, but I'm still going, and so can you. And it doesn't have to look perfect in order for you to show up, and in order for you to see results, and in order for you to be consistent, which I think is which is very powerful in itself. Like, yeah, anyways, hopefully that made sense.
Yeah. I think that you being so real, not only online, but also in person, is the very thing that's going to have you be a magnet to attracting clients to grow your business. I mean, I am so drawn to you. That's why I came here to record this episode, because you are that person who is so real and genuine and authentic and honest in person and online. And I think that's a really important distinction to make. Like, one thing that I value is showing up on my Instagram the way I would show up in real life with my friends or family.
Which you are great at that.
And so are you. That's why we're here today. So thank you for just putting that out into the world the way you do. That makes me have no doubt in where you're heading. And I guess, like, when it comes to looking at where you started to where you are now, what are you most proud of about yourself?
Oof. That's a really good question, because we are our worst critics. So thank you for asking me, because I think it is good to reflect. And I ask my clients this every single week, like, what's something you're proud of? But sometimes I forget to reflect on it myself. So I feel like I'm proud of myself for putting myself out there, for going against the beliefs of how I grew up, for doing things even though some people don't agree with me, or doing things even if someone doesn't validate me, which is something I'm still working on overcoming, is not needing the validation from others. But I've been able to make progress with that, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of myself in my own fitness journey, to find a lifestyle in a way that, making my lifestyle and making macros and making everything work for me, and the progress that I've seen there has been so exciting and fun, and I feel proud of me there. But yeah.
There's so much for you to be proud of,
Yeah,
clearly.
thank you. Well, I'm excited, and let me. I feel like I need to say, I'm still figuring it out. I'm still here.
Thank you for saying
I'm
that.
still I'm proud of myself, but I'm still learning, and I'm still figuring it out every
You
day.
haven't made it.
No,
You're still learning.
The whole, and let me say, anyone who's in the whole creating a business. I have a business coach, and she's absolutely incredible, and I love her. And the reason I have her, I mean, I'm a coach who I have two coaches because I obviously believe in coaching because it's so I value it. So anyway, she helps me with my business, and it's just like a whole new ballpark, and I'm still learning.
That's a really good point to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things I say is always be a student of life. I don't care if you're a CEO, a millionaire, a billionaire, or you're just starting. I think it's so important to always have that growth mindset and the open mind to continue learning from other people, because I know I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. I'm learning as I go, just like you are.
Totally.
And I think it gives people comfort to know, like, oh, this person hasn't reached the end and they're perfect, because how could anybody relate to that? So thanks for making a point of saying that.
Yeah, well, of course. I will always make that point.
Yeah, and it's fun to have you, because you and I are the same age, 24 years old. We both are very passionate about our own industries, and we are terrified to pursue our dreams, but we're doing it. And I am proud of both of us for walking the talk, for not just saying this is what I want to do and never doing it, but saying it and following through. Totally. It goes back to what you're saying about being consistent with what we say and having that match our actions.
100 and a million %.
For anybody that's watching that has a very clear vision of what they want to do, or somebody that knows what they're passionate about, but they are scared to create a career out of it, what would be the wisdom that you would drop for them?
First, I would say that you might have a passion or a desire inside of you, but you might not know or have that clear vision of what that looks like, and that's okay. The way that you'll be able to become more clear on that is taking action. So how to take action, what to do, I would say put yourself out there, tell people, because as you start telling people, then you start acting like you almost kind of feel this need,
an obligation.
Yeah, people start asking you, oh, I saw you posted this, that's so awesome. And you're like, oh my God, start showing up, So I'd say if you have a passion inside you, first recognize that passion and that desire is inside you for a reason. You are doing yourself a disservice by not following that passion or desire, because that's implanted inside you for a reason, and there's probably someone out there that needs you. So how to get started is put yourself out there. Make an Instagram. Tell people. Something that helped me too is I started reaching out to other coaches in the industry. I was like, hey, I'm new. Got any advice? What do you have anything you would recommend for a newer coach like me? And that was really helpful. And all the coaches who helped me and gave me advice, it motivated me and inspired me to take more action. And they were really helpful. Find those people who are doing things that you want to do and reach out to them. And then my last thing would be surround yourself with people, whether that's in person or on Instagram. Surround yourself with people who desire and think like you do, which is why I appreciate our friendship, Shana, and that we were talking about this before, is because we are both young and we're both very passionate, where, you don't see a ton of 24-year-olds starting businesses like the way we are doing it, which in that case, I love surrounding myself with you because you inspire me and you help me to become better and want me to pursue what I'm passionate about, because you're so passionate, So I would say for someone that's out there is surround yourself with those people. And if that's me and Shana, DM us, we would love.
Yes, I love that.
We would love to talk to you and lift you up and help you start this, whatever that passion is inside you. Even if it's a sewing business, like freaking start your sewing business, whatever that is, you know?
I think this is so crucial because sometimes I feel like we live in a world where there's so much focus on being independent and that it can be unhealthy to rely on people. But I think that there is a balance. Like, I would not be where I am today if I did not get a lot of my inspiration from the support of the people in my life.
Totally.
And I think it's a really, really important thing to note when you are starting something is don't ever think that you have to go about everything alone, because people love to give naturally. Totally. And if someone came to me and wanted to start their own thing, I would be thrilled to tell them everything I know.
Yeah.
And I think I'm really glad that you said that, because it is so important to surround yourself with like-minded people who have your back and want to see you thrive and are willing to put their time and resources into investing in you.
Yeah.
However that might look like.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So is there anything in particular that you would want to tell anybody that's listening in terms of what you do? Or what you offer? Like, is there someone out there who would benefit the most from your services?
Yeah. I would say, you know, for anyone that's out there around, I help a wide range of ages, but I would say, you know, my main clientele is people around my age in their 20s up to maybe 30, 35. And I would say anyone who's feeling like they're struggling in their fitness journey or feel like they need an additional help or they're trying to reach a certain fat loss goal or a body composition and they're having a hard time getting there, my services and my programs are a great option for that. Or if you're, you know, if you're struggling, and maybe a lot of people don't recognize this too, but I'd say the programs that I offer, not only do I help people learn how to track their macros and learn more about nutrition and how to set themselves up for success in achieving whatever their goal may be and learn how to make this a lifestyle rather than a quick fix. Along with that comes a lot of mindset work and learning how to recognize those limiting beliefs and how to show up as that person you want to become. So that's something that I provide in my program through the things that I do, as well as if anyone out there is wanting to get stronger. I offer strength training programs, progressive overload. So I'll teach you how to, I'll give you programs to do in the gym. We'll go over form together, things like that, so you can get stronger, feel stronger, mentally, physically, all around. So anyone around that, my programs would be great for you. So if anyone is wanting help with that, they can always reach out. And
okay, cool. Yeah. So leave us off by telling us, how do we find you if someone wants to work with you or be coached by you, which everybody would want to if they met this girl.
So nice. You're so
How
nice.
do people find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, Sarah Clark, 3 Ks at the end, _. That's where you'll find me. You can DM me. And if you go onto my profile, you can apply for coaching there. Or if you just want to know more, just feel free to DM me. I'm an open book. We can set up a free discovery call and we can talk through some of your goals, what you want and what would be helpful for you, and create a plan for you that would best help you. I have different options within my one-on-one programming that are more budget friendly depending on what you're wanting. If anyone just wants like a one-time help, I also offer a one-time macro consultation. So if anybody wants additional help but isn't wanting the one-on-one access or is just looking for a more cheaper option, I do offer macro consultations where we hop on a call, talk through your goals, talk about a plan individualized for you. So yeah, those are the things
Perfect.
that they're open for you. You can DM me and I'm happy to help.
Great. You offer a lot, so everybody's going to be in good hands with you. I'm sure of that. But thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
And I'm so excited to see where the rest of your life takes you with all of this. You got this, girl.
To see where your life goes, too.
Yeah, we get to do this together. So cheers to us and cheers to everyone out there who's gonna finally take action on whatever it is that they're most passionate about in life.
Exactly.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Shana.